And this couldn't have come at a worse time because there are so many existential crises that the EU has been facing over the past few years. You mentioned already the Eurozone crisis, but also the refugee crisis. I'm just wondering which way now for the EU? What steps have to be taken?
Nobody knows how to handle this kind of situation. A procedure needs to be invented from scratch to have an orderly process for a country to leave. Apart from the negotiations, there are legal issues, of course, that need to be taken. There's a question of how Britain plays it and triggers the process and when, and then there's a question how the rest of the bunch, the other 27, react to it. It's that they have to actually really, walk a very fine line. On the one hand, it's understandable, and I think to a certain extent unavoidable, that the other 27, want to make it very costly. They want to set a precedent, that this is not easily done, and that nobody, gets the idea in their heads that you can basically get out on the cheap. On the other hand, if they go too harsh, if they are if the price tag that they put to us is too high, then that could have an adverse effect in that it is mobilizing the already kind of very vibrant, anti-European Eurosceptic scene. They need to navigate this very, very carefully to find a good middle way, and that will require unbelievable skill and statecraft. And patience also, and so it's a new level of crisis management that nobody has ever tried in this town before.
What do you think could be the final divorce settlement for Britain? Because if you talk to business leaders in the UK, they mention how the single market access is very important. Perversely, we've just had a vote in Britain based on the issue of EU migration. Do you think that the Norway model could be the path that the next British Prime Minister will have to take?
Well, I think this is probably desirable from, some of the British protagonist's perspective. But I don't think that you can replicate a Norwegian or a Swiss model very easily. First of all, these countries were never in, and so their special status has grown organically over many years and decades, really. And in a way that is more of a natural kind of arrangement that they have. They also had plenty of time to swallow the huge price tag, both politically and fiscally, that they have to accept, for being part of the Euro sphere, if you will, the EU sphere, while not being part of the decision-making process. That is actually quite costly and not very attractive. In the British case, all of this needs to be negotiated within a few years. No organic growth, no step-by-step approach. Something new has to be invented. I think that's going to be a lot more painful. I don't think it's really the model that Britain wants. We will, soon find out that in the end, I think Britain has lost a lot more than the EU. At the moment, it looks like the EU is the damaged part here. I think, as time progresses, we will find out that the price on Britain of this decision is much higher than it is on the EU. Britain has a lot more to lose than Brussels does.